The European Space Agency, the ISS team does. Thank you.
You're watching HNNCast with Space Rogue on the Hacker News Network.
HNN is sponsored by Astaro, simplifying security. Become a sponsor. Email sales@hackernews.com.
This is Space Rogue for the Hacker News Network, and this is HNNCast for the first week of December 2009. Our top story this week: a hackerspace in Malmo, Sweden, with a name that I will not even try to pronounce, but which translates to Research Department, was recently raided by the local police. The official reason for the raid was the suspicion of illegal alcohol sales occurring elsewhere in the building. The raid was conducted by possibly as many as 50 police officers, with many wearing ski masks. The police reportedly spent over 6 hours in the building, searching through items and confiscating large amounts of equipment, including personal computers, laptops, networking equipment, and digital cameras. Some have theorized that the raid was an exploration into the possible activist planning areas in preparation for the upcoming environmental summit taking place across the river in Copenhagen. The organizers are now asking for donations to help them replace some of their lost equipment. Neil Falahy of California has pleaded guilty to one count of conspiring to traffic in counterfeit goods to defraud the United States. Federal prosecutors say Falahy and several co-defendants sold counterfeit computer chips to the U.S. Navy using a number of California companies such as Pentagon Components and Force One Electronics. The government alleges Falahy and others took trademark-branded integrated circuits and other computer components, ground off the original markings, rebranded them with their other trademarks, and passed the devices off as military grade. Falahy faces up to 51 months in prison and more than $2 million in fines. His sentencing is expected sometime next year. I'm sure this case will now be used as an example for totally unrelated stuff that somehow leads back to China. The Climate Research Unit at the University of East Anglia has had a large volume of emails and other documents posted online. A 61 megabyte zip file appeared on a Russian FTP site last week, containing over 1,000 emails and over 3,000 other documents. Some of the emails date back at least 10 years. East Anglia is working with local authorities to discover how the data was leaked. Authorities have already tracked the original uploaders through at least 3 different proxy servers. Climate change detractors are pointed at the emails and other documents as evidence of a conspiracy to cover up the real data about climate change, while the scientists involved say that the emails have been taken out of context. At least one U.S. senator has suggested that Congress may need to look closer at the disclosures, although considering that East Anglia is in the UK, that might be a little difficult. Most recently, the director of the CRU will be temporarily stepping down until the investigation finishes. Temporarily? All I know is if you look at my email from 10 years ago, you might find a few inflammatory comments in there. Microsoft has hit Cryptome with a DMCA takedown notice regarding copies of and manuals for its coffee forensics tool. At least a partial version of Microsoft's Computer Online Forensics Evidence Extractor appeared on BitTorrent sites a few weeks ago, which is supposed to be available only to law enforcement. Cryptome hosted the mirror of the software as well as a copy of the manual. After receiving a DMCA takedown notice, Cryptome was forced to remove the files. Now the software and manuals have appeared on WikiLeaks. The zip archive is presumably free of viruses and Trojans, unlike what you may find at BitTorrent. Again proving the old maxim that once it's on the internet, you can't delete it. Several restaurants in the Mississippi and Louisiana area are now suing the installer and the manufacturer of their point-of-sale systems, after the systems were breached and credit card data was stolen. HNN has reported on a few of these breaches already, and now Crawfish Town, USA, Don's Seafood and Steakhouse, Jones Creek Cafe, Picante's Mexican Restaurant, and others are filing suit against Computer World Inc. and Radiant over the non-PCI compliant Aloha point-of-sale system. The lawsuit alleges that not only did the system store credit card numbers in violation of PCI standards, the installers used the default installation of PC Anywhere for remote access and did not even bother changing the default passwords. The lawsuit hopes to recover millions of dollars in damages resulting from Visa fines, chargebacks, and other costs associated with the breach. Default passwords on a POS system? Come on! Before we take a break, we just wanted to take a moment and welcome HNN's newest sponsor, Astaro Corp. You may have heard of Astaro before. They regularly sponsor the Shmoo Bus and recently donated several security gateways to the Warzone project. Glad you're with us, Astaro. If you want to join Astaro and sponsor HNN, send email to sales@hackernews.com. We'll be back with more HNNCast right after these messages. Welcome back to HNNCast. UNU is back. We previously reported that UNU, the Romanian SQL injection expert, had taken down his website, but we are happy to report that the blog has returned with 2 new high-profile SQL injections. The first happens to be Symantec's support website in Japan. In this case, the injection appears to reveal the account details of 70,000 Symantec customers, including plaintext passwords and software keys for Symantec products. Symantec now joins Kaspersky and F-Secure as security companies who have fallen victim to the SQL attacks by UNU. Symantec has taken the offending site offline pending an internal investigation. The second attack is the Wall Street Journal's CEO Council website, which again exposes clear text passwords and personal information of members of the site. The Wall Street Journal has also taken the CEO Council offline until the problem can be fixed. The International Information Retrieval Guild has returned after a multi-year hiatus. A post to an IIRG website indicates that someone was falsely claiming to be the IIRG, forcing some members to come out of retirement to set the record straight. The main website and several affiliate websites have been resurrected. It's unclear what the future plans are for the group that was first founded in 1982. Hackers for Charity, the non-profit running in Uganda, Africa, has come up with an ambitious plan. In an effort to further computer education among the local populace, they hope to set up an internet cafe for tourists to use, and then use the money earned at the cafe to set up computer labs for local schools. The problem, as always, is money. In this case, money for the first 6 months' rent on the new location for the cafe. They are asking for your help in securing just enough funding for them to get started. You can follow the PayPal link on the Hackers for Charity website, or check the comments on hackernews.com for the links to Hackers for Charities, as well as all the links to all the stories here on HNN. And now Courtney brings us a story about security product certifications. Courtney?
Thanks, Space Rogue. A recent ICSA Labs product assurance report found that nearly 90% of security products failed to perform as intended when first tested. Additionally, 44% of security products had bugs with a security impact, or what you and I call vulnerabilities. And the main reason criminals can sleep at night was the report's third finding. Vendors find logging to be a nuisance. According to the report, only 27% of antivirus solutions passed functional testing on the first try. One major function of antivirus software, the ability to receive updates, was cited by the report as an area that vendors struggled with. So wait, with this big SSL bug out there, and who knows how long we're going to be stuck with that, how did 27% of products actually pass the first time, and how did 92% of the remaining vendors eventually pass? Shouldn't that be 0% and 0%? I guess that's what happens when the certification is driven by the marketing departments of the products being tested rather than someone like the payment card industry, for example. My guess is that ICSA was afraid of losing its SSL testing customers and its antivirus customers by documenting the fact that they all fail due to the now well-known issues with the SSL protocol itself. If the insurance companies were the ones requiring the tests and picking the assessment teams, I doubt you'd see anything passing. Or at least you'd see a pretty big spike in your cyber insurance rates. That's it for me this week. This is Courtney for the Hacker News Network. Back to you, Space Rogue.